16 seconds to go, and Aaliyah Boston throws a bad handoff to her. Like, it was a bad handoff by Aaliyah Boston there. She's then running after the ball, and then she just pulls up with something. She pulls up with something, like she just jumps in the air. Like, I thought she tripped over her own feet. She just jumps in the air. Like, if you're looking at that, like, that's not tripping over her own feet. She just jumps in the air, and then eventually hits the deck in that position there. Like, she could have definitely blown at her knee from that landing, by the way. She's lucky she didn't blow at her. She's lucky she got a full push on that and her knee didn't buckle in. But she ends up down from that.
She gets a handoff from Aaliyah Boston, and then she fumbles the ball a little bit and she falls to the ground.
Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark has suffered a left groin injury.
This hurts the entire WNBA. The league won't exist without her. Pray for her return.
CC hurt again.
That it just went bad.
That's the draw. That's the aura. That's the brand.
Shocking new footage shows Caitlin Clark going down on the court, and fans are devastated. How did this happen, and why was she even out there?
Caitlin Clark goes out
with a groin injury.
If you stand with Caitlin, drop a 1 in the comments to show your support.
She is the WNBA. That should be the logo of the WNBA.
Let's break down what really went wrong.
The Indiana Fever literally taking what looks like the most valuable women's athlete asset, I contend, is worth more than every player in the WNBA combined.
This wasn't just a random injury. The warning signs were there, and they were screaming.
This time it is her left groin.
Caitlin Clark didn't suddenly break down. Her body had been sending distress signals for weeks, and fans who've watched her closely knew something wasn't right.
She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games. It is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark.
Let's start with her performance. Over her last few games, Caitlin looked off. Her shooting took a nosedive. She hit just 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games. That's not Caitlin Clark. Her energy, low. Her usual fire, missing.
They went from 28 minutes in this game to 34 in the next, 34 in the one after that, and then she played 31 minutes.
She wasn't hyping up the crowd, wasn't flying around the court like she normally does. It looked like she was playing through something. Then fans noticed the tape.
That she did have her quad taped up during the Connecticut Sun game.
Fans also noticed that she had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games.
Her upper left leg had been wrapped heavily, game after game. And if you know athletes, you know that's not nothing. That's pain management. That's trying to hold things together.
Those are very hard shots on your muscles. Like, they take a lot of leg strength.
Still, if you was going to allow her to play 25 to 28, I wouldn't have been touching the 30 marks. It was bad management.
Even during warm-ups, Caitlin looked slower, more cautious, adjusting her movements to protect that leg. And then, the moment that changed everything. Against Seattle, with just seconds left on the clock and the Fever leading by 8.
Many people were wondering why she was even in at the moment.
Why in the world is she back in the game with 16 seconds left?
Caitlin was suddenly subbed back in. Why? The game was basically over. She took a handoff, made a quick, sharp move, and then collapsed to the floor in a way that made fans' hearts stop.
She gets a handoff from Aaliyah Boston, and then she fumbles the ball a little bit and she falls to the ground.
Did a step with the left leg, and boom, the left leg comes from under her.
It wasn't a hard foul. It wasn't contact from another player. Her body just gave out. The cameras caught everything. The pain etched across her face.
She says, ow, she's kind of limping to the bench.
She ended up grabbing her groin right here.
The way she clutched her groin and how she limped off the floor in visible agony. It was the nightmare fans had feared, and now it was playing out in real time.
The franchise does not understand what they've got in their possession right now, which is Caitlin Clark, and they're going to blow it. This ought to be the most troubling for the WNBA.
Shortly after the team confirmed the news, Caitlin Clark suffered a groin injury and underwent an MRI. She's now listed as day-to-day, but here's the real kicker. Coach Stephanie White claims she didn't even know about Caitlin's injury until the night before the announcement.
Stephanie White did comment on Caitlin's injury, and she said she didn't even know until last night.
Caitlin Clark did get an MRI last night because she was feeling pain in her groin and that she is day by day. And Coach Stephanie White actually did an interview with media. They were asking her about it. I'll play for you guys a little bit of the clip here.
Out about this groin injury and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it.
That's not just shocking. That's outrageous. How could the coach of the most watched player in women's basketball miss all the signs? Thousands of fans saw it. Broadcasters saw it. Her body language screamed it.
A lot of fans are wondering how Coach Stephanie White did not know about this. And
This is not a game we lose ever. Another coaching malpractice and another mishandled lead by Steph. Steph kills us every game, and the referees just finished the job. The refs were bad again.
Caitlin Clark is so great for the WNBA. The WNBA has always been physical. It's always been extremely competitive, right? And Caitlin Clark isn't the best player in the league. She plays the game with a high skill level.
But somehow the coaching staff didn't know? This wasn't some sudden twist of fate. It was a slow breakdown happening in full view. And instead of protecting her, they left her out there. That's not bad luck. That's negligence.
I think Caitlin's hurt. I'm not going to be surprised if sometime soon the Indiana Fever pulls her.
What happened to Caitlin Clark wasn't just a tragic on-court moment. It was the result of weeks of reckless decision-making by the Indiana Fever. Fans aren't just upset that she's injured. They're furious because this injury could have been completely avoided if only someone had used common sense. Let's start with the most obvious issue, her minutes.
She also had her groin taped up during the New York Liberty game.
Amping up her minutes like that on an injured leg was a terrible decision.
After already suffering a quad injury earlier this season, Caitlin should have been brought back with caution. That's what smart franchises do with their stars. They protect them. They manage their load. They understand the long game.
It's going to be a nagging injury, man. She just keeps playing, keeps trying to play through it.
Last thing you want is her compensating or her groin not firing properly, and she goes to cut to the side, and then all of a sudden something blows in her knee.
But the Fever, they threw her right back into heavy action. Her playing time didn't ramp up slowly. It skyrocketed. One night she's playing 28 minutes. The next she's logging 34+ minutes, even in games where her performance was clearly affected. Her legs were visibly heavy. She wasn't moving the same. This wasn't about winning crucial playoff battles. These were mid-season matchups where the outcome was already decided. But the most irresponsible decision of all came in the Seattle game. With just 16 seconds left and the Fever up by 8,
Many people were wondering why she was even in at the moment.
Why in the world is she back in the game with 16 seconds left?
the game was virtually over. There was no reason, none, to put Caitlin Clark back on the floor. Yet the coaches did exactly that, and within seconds, disaster struck. She made a routine movement and collapsed, clutching her groin in visible pain. Let that sink in. She was reinserted into a game that was already won, and that's when she got hurt. This wasn't a freak accident. This was the result of a pattern of overuse and ignoring warning signs. Her leg had been taped for multiple games. Her gait had changed. Her intensity was down. Her shooting was cold.
I don't think it's a good idea to just chance it.
She wants to help this team win, but she has to sit out.
These were all red flags that should have set off alarms. Instead, the team kept pushing her harder. And then came the coach's comment, a statement that only made things worse. When asked about the injury, Coach Stephanie White said she found out late last night, just before the team announcement. She even added that she stays in her lane, letting the medical staff handle things. That response didn't just sound detached.
Referees won't call every ticky-tack foul, or they'll be a lot more lenient towards this issue.
It sounded like a total abdication of leadership. How can the head coach of the most scrutinized rookie in WNBA history, a player carrying the league's ratings, attendance, and public interest, be unaware of her deteriorating condition? Fans were stunned. Analysts were speechless. And Caitlin? She was the one paying the price. Let's go deeper. This wasn't just about the groin. Caitlin entered the season already managing a quad injury, something that, if not fully healed, throws the entire kinetic chain out of balance.
I mean, I'm sick to my stomach. Indiana's season is toast without Caitlin Clark. Look what happened against a terrible team. This hurts the entire WNBA. The league won't exist without her. Pray for her return.
Athletes know this. Trainers know this. When one part of the leg is weakened, the body overcompensates, shifting stress to nearby muscles. In Caitlin's case, that pressure landed directly on her groin. She didn't get the recovery time she needed. She didn't get the minutes management a high-level prospect should. Instead, she was asked to carry the team, the ticket sales, the media expectations, and her own injured body, all at once. And now she's sidelined. And it's not just fans who are outraged. It's former players, medical experts, and even broadcasters.
Much like a rising tide lifts all boats, if there is no tide,
the WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlin Clark was out with injury.
They're calling this what it is: professional mismanagement. The Indiana Fever treated Caitlin Clark like any other rookie, when she's anything but that. She's the most marketable name in the league. She's the reason arenas are sold out. She's why TV ratings are spiking. And yet the organization gambled with her health for short-term minutes and questionable decisions. It's not just disappointing, it's dangerous. They ignored the warning signs. They didn't listen to her body, and now the face of the WNBA is injured. All because the people who were supposed to protect her chose not to. This isn't hindsight. This is a failure of judgment, leadership, and basic responsibility.
Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury.
Rest up, Caitlin Clark, and please get better.
Caitlin Clark's injury didn't just affect one team. It sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA, shaking the very foundation the league has been building on. Because this isn't just about one player getting hurt. It's about how fragile the league's success really is and how poorly it responded to protecting its most valuable asset. Let's be clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just a star, she's the star. She's the reason ESPN moved games into primetime slots. She's the reason arenas are sold out, home and away. She's the reason jerseys are flying off the shelves and why people who never watched women's basketball before are now tuning in, posting, and debating. She's the economic engine of the league.
Late last night, I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day. I mean, I don't know if it's a factor from a physical standpoint, from an athletic training standpoint. Certainly in my mind, it is. But at the same time, she's shown that she's tough and she's a quick healer. So we'll see. I had to have been at some point during the day because they took her out yesterday, for the MRI. So I'm not exactly sure. I didn't hear about it until we heard from our training staff last night. You'll have to ask our training staff. Yeah, I stay in my lane.
Without her, everything slows down, or worse, stops. So when the news broke that Caitlin Clark suffered a groin injury following weeks of visible discomfort and questionable coaching decisions, the WNBA didn't just lose a player, it triggered full-blown panic. Let's talk numbers. The last time Caitlin Clark missed even a short stretch of time earlier this season, viewership dropped by over 50%. Half the audience disappeared. That's not a slump. That's a collapse. Networks noticed. Sponsors noticed. League executives noticed. Everyone realized something brutal. Right now, Caitlin Clark is the WNBA. And now, she's out again with an injury that could linger. This groin issue, combined with her earlier quad strain, is a dangerous mix. Sports medicine experts will tell you, groin injuries are tricky. They can flare up, linger for weeks, and get worse if not treated with absolute care. And with Caitlin's minutes being overloaded and her movements showing signs of compensation, the risk is this injury isn't just a short-term setback. It could become a chronic problem if not managed correctly. That's the fear gripping fans and the league alike. What if she doesn't come back 100% What if she's never the same? Now ask yourself this: how could the league allow this to happen? The panic isn't just about Caitlin being hurt. It's about who failed to protect her. The Indiana Fever's coaching staff clearly mismanaged her usage.
Caitlin Clark did get an MRI last night because she was feeling pain in her groin and that she is day by day. And Coach Stephanie White actually did an interview with media. They were asking her about it. I'll play for you guys a little bit of the clip here.
Out about this groin injury and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it Dave.
A lot of fans are wondering how Coach Stephanie White did not know about this. And
This is not a game we lose ever. Another coaching malpractice and another mishandled lead by Steph. Steph kills us every game, and the referees just finished the job. The refs were bad again.
Caitlin Clark is so great for the WNBA. The WNBA has always been physical. It's always been extremely competitive, right? And Caitlin Clark isn't the best player in the league. She plays the game with a high skill level.
That much is obvious. But the responsibility doesn't stop there. The WNBA, as a league, had a responsibility too, and they blew it. They marketed Caitlin Clark like a megastar. They built storylines around her. They made her the face of every commercial, every graphic, every promo. But when it came time to protect her, both physically and emotionally, they vanished. Where was the league when she was taking cheap shots on the court? Where was the outrage when she was being bumped, shoved, and knocked down repeatedly, often without a whistle? Game after game, players targeted her, and the refs swallowed their whistles. She's a rookie, they said. She needs to get used to it, they said. But that's not how professional leagues treat their marquee players. In the NBA, stars like Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are protected. You touch them wrong, foul. You hit them hard, flagrant. But in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark gets elbowed in transition, shoved to the floor, and gets up without a call, and then gets blamed for not drawing fouls.
Caitlin Clark, right? What does she mean to the game of women's basketball?
Everything. The attention she's bringing, but the hate she's bringing from no players, it's great. It's what sports wants. You need a protagonist, antagonist, all that stuff that movies are based around.
She's the reason why we're always seeing something, because she's the star.
She's the golden goose of this league.
Caitlin Clark is so great for the WNBA. The WNBA has always been physical. It's always been extremely competitive. You know what happens when you get a superstar that may be a little bit of an instigator, or a superstar that may be a little bit of an antagonist? You gotta go get a goon, right? And Caitlin Clark isn't the best player in the league. Sports is about storytelling. There's a story that started at Iowa that we now get to watch in the WNBA. She plays the game with a high skill level.
She is the biggest or the brightest star right now. She's the most marketable person in the WNBA. She's the most microscopic, and anything that involves her, the media is going to take it and push it out into the universe.
Caitlin Clark, her skill level, her narrative, the thing that is driving the league.
That sends a terrible message. To fans, we don't protect the players you care about. To young stars, if you become too big, too fast, we won't protect you either. And to Caitlin herself, we want your fame, but you're on your own. The backlash is mounting. Social media is on fire with fans blaming not just the Fever, but the entire WNBA structure. Posts calling for better officiating. Tweets slamming the coaching decisions. TikToks breaking down every second of the injury clip. Instagram stories calling out how the league used Caitlin's name to boost ratings, but didn't lift a finger to shield her from risk. Even former players have joined the conversation. Some are defending Caitlin. Others are asking how the league can grow if it burns out its brightest stars within a few months of their debut. The public pressure is building, and it's clear this isn't just a viral moment. It's a turning point. Because if Caitlin Clark, the most important rookie in WNBA history, can be overused, knocked around, ignored, and injured all in her first few months, what does that say about the system around her?
we saw the Caitlin Clark effect last season. We saw the influx of millions of new fans, billions of dollars in revenue that came to the WNBA, and that was supposed to come to the WNBA this season.
You can't win a game without Caitlin Clark.
She's already starting on fire, man. She's ready to go. Look, jersey lifted up. Oh, throwing the jersey. Swing it around your head like a helicopter, then leaves the building. All right.
What does that say to every future superstar thinking about joining the league? What does that say to sponsors, networks, and fans who just started paying attention? The WNBA had a chance to show the world it could handle a generational talent. And instead, it put her on the court for garbage time, watched her collapse, and acted shocked when the fallout began. This isn't just a panic over an injury. It's a crisis of trust. And unless things change fast, the damage could go far beyond one player missing time. It could affect the league's credibility, its growth, and its relationship with the fans who believed this season would be different.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlin Clark, right? What does she mean to the game of women's basketball?
Everything.
Caitlin Clark is so great for the WNBA. The WNBA has always been physical. It's always been extremely competitive, right? And Caitlin Clark isn't the best player in the league.
At the end of the day, this isn't just about an injury. It's about how we treat greatness. Caitlin Clark gave everything, her time, her energy, her body, to elevate this league. She brought in new fans, sold out arenas, and carried an entire sport into the mainstream spotlight. And how was she rewarded? With reckless minutes, ignored warning signs, cheap hits, and a system that failed to protect her. This moment should be a wake-up call for the Indiana Fever, the WNBA, the referees, and honestly, all of us. Because when you have a once-in-a-generation talent, you don't overplay her until she breaks. You protect her, you support her, you build around her. And now, as Caitlin faces this setback, we need to remind her, she's not alone. If you believe Caitlin Clark deserves better, if you respect everything she's brought to the game, drop a 1 in the comments right now. Let her see the support. Let the league see it too. Make sure you subscribe, because this story is far from over. When Caitlin Clark returns, and she will, she's not just going to bounce back. She's going to remind everyone exactly who she is and why she's the future of the WNBA.